Founder FM. You're listening to Founder FM with your host, Graham Brown.
Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Graham Brown. Today I want to introduce you to a world traveler and entrepreneur by the name of Carlo Cretaro. He's going to tell you about how he built his business whilst traveling the world, but also some interesting angles here which you may have not considered as an entrepreneur. How can you build a six-figure business without a website? Is it possible? Can you build a business whilst traveling around the world, South America, Southeast Asia? Today in Athens, Greece. Welcome to the show, Carlo.
Thanks very much, Graham. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic to have you here. We spoke about a year ago. At the time you were in South America, now you're in Greece. You get about a bit. I think at the time you were also heading out to Southeast Asia. What's the story?
Yeah, at the moment we're doing a house sit here in Athens, looking after two sneaky cats actually, while the owner has gone back to the UK for a month. So that's where we're at the moment.
But you move around a lot. I mean, how many countries did you go to last year?
2015. Actually, we only visited 3 countries in 2015 because we were based in Chiang Mai in Thailand for 6 months, and then we went to India for 3 months after that. So we didn't do too much new country hopping back in 2015. We did a lot of traveling, obviously in India, but not too many country hopping. So yeah.
Well, still a pretty exciting story nonetheless. And you're an entrepreneur through and through. You run a business, which we'll talk about now. You have a content business. You provide content for a growing client base. And you have quite a large number of writers on your books as well. How long have you been running this business?
We started in late 2012, Graham. At that time, I was just doing all the writing myself. I was kind of starting off, so I wanted to get into some medium online that would allow me to make money and possibly travel at the same time. So freelance writing was low barrier of entry, and as I started off writing myself, and kind of slowly but surely built up from there, and went down the route of outsourcing everything to other writers so we could scale and grow our business.
Right. So you started off doing it all yourself. You then started outsourcing to more writers, and eventually that became your business, right? Outsourcing to other writers.
Yeah. We quickly figured that, there's only so many hours in the day that we could actually do writing ourselves. So in order to scale it, we needed to outsource to good writers, that would have the quality there for what we give our clients. So that was the main goal behind doing what we're doing. We just wanted to slowly but surely get a couple of new writers in, train them up on the different kind of client specifications that they needed, and then as we got that kind of rolling, get more and more writers on board.
Right. And as we speak, 2016, how many writers do you have?
At the moment, we have 41, I think is the exact number. Now, we wouldn't use all 41 on a weekly basis. Some weeks, obviously, we'd use maybe 25, 30 of them. Other weeks, maybe 15. All depends on the fluctuation of the orders that we get in from our clients.
Right.
Yeah, so we have 41 on the books, if you like.
Right. And the kind of clients that you service, agencies, what kind of thing would be interested in what you do?
So we get a lot of referrals and contacts from SEO agencies, digital marketing agencies, social media agencies. So they would all contact us. Nowadays we get referrals, as I was saying. So it's great because we can kind of handpick the kind of clients we want to work with ourselves.
And here's the interesting thing about your business, which I think a lot of people won't get, is you don't have a website. And you're running a six-figure business without a website. I mean, what's going on? It seems like we're missing the point here, Carlo.
Well, as our own website, we have a travel blog with NextStopWhoKnows.com. But when people ask, "Oh, where's your business website?" It's like we don't have one, and they're like, "What?" And so it's hard to explain them because people automatically assume if you're making money online, you have to have some sort of maybe business website to direct clients or potential clients. But we actually don't, because as I said, when we started off, we were doing freelance writing, and it kind of slowly progressed from there. Where our kind of the main meat of what we do as well is we build relationships with these clients or potential clients, and that is a key factor for us, and probably the key factor for how we grew our business to six figures last year. We kind of talk to clients on just like we're talking now, no kind of formal jargon, just chit chatting over and back, and I feel like that was probably a big stepping stone for us.
So I wonder, your strength of your business is the relationships, and as you say, you treat clients, as with the respect that you don't sort of throw the jargon at them, you don't talk down to them. It's very much at their level. If you had a website and you had spent a lot of money and invested in the website, it may have been a different dynamic, isn't it? You might have sort of thought, well, the website's got to produce me business now. I've got to focus on SEO my own website, et cetera, right?
I think that's definitely true. Because you can become distracted a lot by having your own website. I know I will get very distracted. I think I do as it stands for our own travel website. I mean, I constantly get distracted by that. So having a business one on top of that would definitely hinder, because I think it takes away then from the kind of hustle that we're kind of used to, and we have been used to for the past 3 years. Like, we go out there and we're like constantly looking, not pitching for new clients at the moment because we're in a good position where we get a lot of referrals from our current clients. But we just kind of put our effort into making sure clients are happy with what we're getting back. They're getting back from us, and also that our riders are happy with what they're getting from us. So that's where we put in our kind of energy on a day-to-day basis, really, Graham.
Right, and that's the challenge, isn't it? Because I imagine a lot of entrepreneurs are focused elsewhere, aren't they? Like, I need a Twitter account, I need to be on Instagram, that kind of thing, right?
I mean, that alone would just eat up so much of our time. We probably wouldn't even do it ourselves. We'd maybe outsource that even, but it kind of takes away. It's something that if it's not broke, we're not going to fix it until that time comes. And if that time does come, well, then we will reassess and maybe look at a different angle for sure. But as it stands now, we're kind of happy. We're kind of making our own decisions. We have a good bit of freedom. We can travel and work at the same time. So we're happy with that. Yeah.
When it comes to taking on business and the type of business that you do decide to, pursue, you go back to this point about decisions, right, and freedom. Yeah. Are you sort of actively turning down business because it doesn't fit into the kind of lifestyle that you want?
Yeah, absolutely. Only there, 4 months ago, we let go of a huge social media client of ours it was worth about €2,000 profit a month to us, but the time investment for that client for their monthly order was huge on our part, not just on the riders, because we had multiple riders working on them, but we had to kind of make sure that the specifications and the requirements were met when we get that content back from our riders. And it was a huge time investment, and it just sucked up an awful lot of our time. So we made the conscious decision there just before Christmas that we were just going to, let the client go and, worry about it later, because as I was saying, like, the freedom and our lifestyle are kind of more important than making that extra 2,000 a month. We were more than happy with what we were making, and we just didn't want the extra time burden on top of us, because we found some days we were just clogged and not able to even go out for a bite to eat without worrying about, we have to get this back for deadlines and stuff like this. So we do make a lot of decisions like that, and as I said, we kind of handpick the kind of clients we want to work with. So if we feel that their orders are going to be, or what they need isn't going to be a huge time drain, and the money is good, obviously, well, then we definitely take them on board.
Was that the right decision to make? Do you think you ever regret that? Do you ever look back and think, 2,000 profit a month is not bad, I could,
Yes and no. I'm not going to lie, obviously. 2,000, down from a client a month is a lot of money to refuse. But at the same time, it's like there's a weight lifted off your shoulder then, because you don't have this huge volume of social media content coming in every month. And people might say, "Oh, social media must be very easy, like tweets and that." Yeah, but there's also then, like, if a tweet is one character over the max required, and that goes back to the client, that creates, and it has created multiple times, a kind of a problem where there's
Right.
two characters, and it's simple things like that just need to be checked properly. And we just weren't prepared anymore to kind of go through the time that was needed. So
It's a valuable lesson, though, isn't it? I find that a key part of growing as an entrepreneur is learning what to say no to, because you can only really say yes to the big things when you are able to say no to a lot of the small things. You've got to understand what the big yes is as well inside, and that's a key point. With yourself, what is that? What is the sort of lifestyle that you want? Because you've kind of, if I can put it this way, you've fallen into this business. Right.
Yeah.
You started off writing stuff, and then it kind of happened, and you saw the opportunity, you seized that, you grew the business. So you've kind of fallen into that without a master plan. What is it that's going on in your mind now in terms of your own sort of master plan when you sort of look at business and say, I want to do that, I don't want to do that? Do you have a sort of an idea of what you want?
To be honest, I don't. As I said, the most important thing for not just me, but for my girlfriend Florence, we're all about our lifestyle and be able to make the choices we make and travel the way we're doing. We just need enough to get by to do that. We're not talking about like having millions or that. We just want enough to be able to have a nice lifestyle like we have at the moment, and be able to do what we want to do without kind of outside external stress coming down on top of us. As a master plan, business wise, I presume you're talking about, Graham.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have one. We don't really have one. I know some people think, you should always have kind of end goal. Of course, what I would ideally like would be maybe to have a big, digital agency of our own at some stage, where we could kind of leverage what we have at the moment onto an even bigger scale. But it's not something we're actively thinking about at the moment.
It will happen out of demand, right? People will pull you in that direction. You'll take an opportunity and so on, right? But
yes, exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk about the lifestyle, because I think this is what it's all about, isn't it? You create this business, you make good money out of that business. You're not probably you're probably turning down business as well, so you could possibly make more, but you're not working as on the kind of business that you don't want to work on. You're traveling around the world. You're in India for 6 months, just enjoying the sights and sounds of India. Tell us a little bit about what it was like when you were in India running this business. Does it all come together? Because I can imagine people might think you can't do that in India.
Well, yeah, it's funny because we booked our trip. We knew we were going to go to India back in the end of 2014, just when we were finishing up our trip in South America. So we knew India was going to be a big challenge for us in terms of both travel and working an online business at the same time. As it turned out, actually, running a business while traveling full time in India was surprisingly easy. And the reason why it was surprisingly easy for us was the 3G mobile internet in India was fantastic. I mean, we couldn't believe it. Wi-Fi in general isn't great, but the 3G mobile internet we had with Vodafone, for example, we could work anywhere basically. Secondly, we had spent 5 months in Thailand, in Chiang Mai prior to that, so we had kind of done a lot of groundwork to kind of have systems in place that, while we're traveling in India, because we didn't know what to expect. So we had a lot of kind of procedures and protocols and stuff in place for us to make sure that, if we run into any difficulties, we have a kind of a plan to maybe do something about that. So when we got to India, it was surprisingly easy to continue doing what we were doing. The only difference is we'd be, traveling a bit here or there, moving consistently, no more than 2 or 3 nights in the one hotel, and then you're on to the next place. So that was the only shift, that we had to make. And that was the same as back in 2014 in South America, where we were on the go consistently for, months on end. it was the same. It was the same principle over there. So India was very easy in general for doing what we were doing.
Now that's interesting. Was there ever a moment where you were in India and you were running your business, the checks were coming in, and you're thinking, "Is this real?"
Yeah, I think it was, because when we had our first 10K a month with our business in the end of August, and we were just after having our first month in India, and we were actually at the same time we were celebrating our 10-year anniversary together, and we were in Kerala, down on the south of India, one of these houseboats on the Blackwaters. So it was kind of a surreal moment. We were just sitting there going like, this is amazing. We've had our first 10K month in our business. We're lying on a boat here, going down the waters in India. There was a real kind of serene moment to that. Yeah, it was cool, definitely.
And you could get a 3G connection there.
Not on the boat at the time. We were just going for a half-day tour, so we knew we were coming back online.
Right. You probably deliberately got away for it for half a day, right? Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the interesting thing, is that you can actually run a business like this. You can have this kind of lifestyle. Did you ever sort of know that this was going to be it years ago, when you were sort of young and starting out in the world? Was this ever sort of the thing that you thought you'd be doing?
No, because when I after school I did a degree in pharmaceutical science for 5 years in college, and after that I went working in the industry for 4 months and got completely disillusioned by the whole thing. It wasn't for me, and it was a hard lesson as well to swallow, because I'd spent 5 years of my life in college doing something that I thought I wanted to do, and when I got out I just realized this is not the route I'm going to pursue. You
didn't give it very long. You were only there 4 months after 5 years of study.
I knew it wasn't for me. It was just, and it's not something I ever regret. I don't even look back and say, "Oh, what if?" Because all my college friends from back then are all high up in their different companies now. That's 15 years ago. So it's not something I look back and go, "Oh, what if?" I knew it wasn't for me. I knew maybe that particular industry definitely wasn't for me. So I didn't know I was ever going to do what I'm doing at the moment. I always was kind of fascinated by computers, and I was always, tech orientated. So looking back, I wish I had maybe done something with computers in college, if anything. But hindsight is a great thing. So yeah.
And it maybe detracts again, like we talked about with not having a website, is that you have a certain value to add, which is that relationship and the hustle, which is really what business is all about, isn't it?
I think so, yeah, definitely.
If you were to get stuck into computing, maybe that take you away, because maybe that's not you're interested in it, but only as a tool really to achieve what you want to achieve, right?
That's true, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that, as you said, that might have been a distraction as well.
So going forward from here, where does it go? I mean, you talked about, maybe one day having the digital agency and so on. But do you see yourself traveling for the near future? I mean, what sort of plans do you have?
In that respect, no. I think the end of 2017, we'll kind of definitely chillax a little. We are looking to buy a property somewhere, and I don't know if it's going to be in Ireland or in Europe somewhere, but we are looking to invest in our own place to have, and kind of have that as a base, set some roots or that. But we don't plan on obviously doing what we're doing the past 3 years, long term, because as you know, it is tiring. I mean, moving, as glamorous as it sounds, it is tiring if you're trying to, travel the whole time, and then on top of that, run a business. Right. It can get really, it can mentally fatigue you fairly quick. And as used to it as we are, we're here in Athens now for a month. We have a base. It's great. We can unpack our bags, relax. We have a routine. It's great. It feels nice. But as I said, having that option is what it's all about. So if we wanted to, we can get up and go, and that's the key in the whole equation.
Very true. And I think sometimes people get caught up a bit, don't they, in this sort of travel, entrepreneur lifestyles, that they have to keep traveling. Otherwise, it's a failure of sorts, That's
true, yeah. And especially, I mean, as us being travel lifestyle bloggers, there is that kind of expectation as well. It's like, oh, you're not traveling, you're in Athens for a month. It's like, yeah, but we do this lifestyle, so we have the choice to move when we want and stay put when we want. And as you said, this expectation to constantly be traveling, and if you're not, you're seen as a failure, is definitely out there. But we don't pass any bit of heed to it. Yeah, it's we do what we want to do, kind of, and go where we want to go.
Exactly, and good for you. I mean, I see it as I see myself as an entrepreneur who travels rather than a traveler who's an entrepreneur. I think that travel is the benefit of the lifestyle. You create these lifestyle, you have these opportunities, you have these options, but you don't have to take them, right?
Exactly, yeah. That's true.
What sort of advice would you offer to a younger Carlo, apart from maybe not doing the pharma course? More of the stuff coming out of university, getting into your first business. You've changed, you've grown, you've evolved. Could you sort of go back and sort of give yourself some advice to avoid any of the mistakes that you've made?
Yeah, if I was to give any bit of advice, I think, especially if you're getting into something on your own business or that, it's like, be prepared, I think, to play the long game. Don't be looking for the quick kill, which, as you know, is very kind of common these days, especially with online, is people are looking for the quick kill, get the passive income going, and it's like, set and forget kind of thing. That stuff, takes so much time, and people are looking for this kind of quick kill. They're not prepared to put in the time and the effort to, build something that's sustainable and worthwhile, that can offer value. So I think that's what I definitely advise is, wait it out, put in the time and the effort. Don't expect to get results overnight. That would be my big thing that I would say to someone that's, maybe getting started, that's 10 or 20 years younger than me. That makes me sound really old. So yeah, that would be my...
Well, that's great advice though, isn't it? And that comes with time and wisdom.
Yeah.
I think people want especially in business, and you look around today, people want to raise, like 5 million funding straight away and exit the business. The people who are in it for the long term understand that these things take time.
Definitely.
And what about yourself? I mean, have you sort of evolved in the last year since we last spoke? Do you feel as an entrepreneur you've changed?
I think I've become a little... I've become calmer about the business. Last time we spoke, I was in Medellin, and we were kind of just really trying to scale up, find new writers, and I was getting stressed about, having to write as well as find new writers back then. So I think I've definitely kind of chilled a little. I haven't stressed out as much the past year, especially. I've just kind of accepted that things will play out the way they're meant to play out if you lay the groundwork for them, and you put in the hard work that's needed as well. So I think that's been a key factor for me, is that I've become a little less stressed about business in general.
Isn't that a good sign? When business is coming through the door, it's a nice feeling.
It is, yeah, and even as I said, we had a great 2015. It's been slow this year. But I'm not stressing about it, because, there's certain things that you can't control. But if you just kind of keep chipping away, things will be fine.
Fantastic. Well, you sound calm, and it's a great story. It's an inspiration. I think people looking at your story, maybe a lot of entrepreneurs don't know they can do what you've done, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Then you have to go and look at your travel blog to see the kind of places that you've been and think, wow, you can grow a 6-figure business and do this. It's possible, right?
Definitely possible. Yeah, for sure. We work hard at it, but it's definitely possible. And not just in something like the content business. There's many other business models out there that people might be best suited to, that they know they could maybe use the same kind of principles to build up their own business. Exactly.
Great advice. That's Carlo Cretaro, everybody. Where do we find out more about you?
As I said, our blog is NextStopWhoKnows.com. We also have a Facebook page. You can type in NextStopWhoKnows into that. There, where we're doing a lot of content on those two pages.
Carlo, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you
Inspirational
very much.
story as ever. And we look forward to having you back on sometime in the future. See where you are in a year from now.
Absolutely, Graham. Thank you very much for having me. Pleasure.
Founder FM, voice of the entrepreneur. Find out more at www.founderfm.com.